Yes. No, it's not bad. Hello, hello. Good afternoon. We are about to start our Zimbabwe National Film Strategy update. So anybody, um, please can you come and join us now? On our panel here, this is brought to you by the National Arts Council and the Zimbabwe Film Strategy team. We've got representatives from there. So we have Mr. William Ndinde from the National Arts Council, um, Marion Kunonga, who's part of the National Film Strategy team, and Richard Tenton, who's also part of the national team. So we'll start off with Mr. Ndinde. You'll be talking about the process.
Thank you, Chair. That's why you are seated next to me. By the way, she is my wife. In quotes. Yeah. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, everyone. Briefly, I will talk about why the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe is seized with the process of having sector-based strategies. We are now very aware that cultural and creative industries are the backbone of many economies. And I will not belabor the point. I think you are very much aware how other economies have been driven by creativity. We are now living in the creative economy, and creativity is taking us forward. So consciously what we did as National Arts Council is to say to ourselves, let's have strategies, specific strategies for each and every cultural and creative sector. So we started off with music. Why music? Music is the most shouting genre of the performing arts. It cuts across borders. It appeals to everyone, regardless of age, creed, color, or creed. Yeah. So what we have done, we have just completed the music strategy which we launched, and we are saying, why do we need to reinvent the wheel? The process that we used in producing the music strategy is the same process that we are using in producing the film strategy. So basically, I will give an outline of that process, and we are saying we'll be using a participatory and inclusive approach. Participatory in the sense that all the practitioners in a specific sector, they have to participate in producing the strategy. They have to own it. It's not a National Arts Council thing, but it belongs to each and every particular sector. Music for the musicians, film for the film makers, and we are saying all the practitioners involved in that sector's particular value chain must participate. We want to professionalize cultural and creative industries. How do we professionalize it? Is to involve you guys. You know what is happening, you know the ecosystem, you know the terrain of the film industry in Zimbabwe, and you are the ones who are going to participate and produce a strategy that you own, a strategy that belongs to you, a strategy that speaks to your operations, a strategy that you can evaluate and monitor at the end of the day. So this is our vision, and ours is just to facilitate. We are facilitators, and the foot soldiers and the dirty work is there to be carried out by the practitioners who are involved in filmmaking, who are involved in music, who are involved in visual arts. So, like I said earlier on, we started off with music, we are moving on to film, and those two, after which we have to monitor and evaluate. We want to implement. One factor that we should keep at the back of our minds is that Zimbabweans, we are very good at producing brilliant documents, Vision 2030, Vision 2020, whatever. If you can enumerate them, there are an average of them. But is there anything to show the world, to show us as Zimbabweans what we have achieved? Zilch, zero. So we are saying implementation and monitoring this time is very key. So without wasting much of your time, I have an outline here of what the strategy formulation process that we undertook during the music sector, like I said, is the same strategy that we want to use, we are using in the formulation of and crafting of the film strategy. The underlying factor is that it's participatory and inclusive, and it's owned by the practitioners, it's owned by the industry. Government and the National Arts Council are there as facilitators, and also they contribute here and there, but the gist of the matter comes from the practitioners, because they are the ones who know the nitty-gritties of the film industries. So it's basically it's a 6-stage process. The first stage, which I can safely say we have accomplished together with the film practitioners, is the establishment and the capacitation of the project's national team. We are treating the process as a project. We need to have a film strategy before December this year. So the national team has been formed, and it's composed of various practitioners in the film industries. You know the film sector value chain, so people were picked from the value chain by the practitioners working in liaison with the National Arts Council. We had an indaba where people were called in, and subsequently the national team was formed. So the national team, its mandate is to champion the crafting of this film strategy. This is the team that will be responsible. And out of the national team members, we will also pick the drafting team that will be responsible of putting together critical information that will inform the strategy per se. So that has been done, and the national team is now working. The second stage is for the national team now to conduct a situational analysis, navigate the film terrain, navigate the film ecosystem, and establish what is actually taking place. I can say we say it's mark time, like the soldiers, at a single step. Then look sideways, forward, backwards, and establish what exactly it is within the film sector. Aligned to that will be a Swot analysis. Dissecting the film sector, dissecting the film industry, what is actually obtained at the current moment. After that, we'll compile the findings and produce what we call a situational analysis report together with the SWOT analysis report. This is the process that we are carrying out currently, and I'm happy to say members of the national team, who are my colleagues here, have been participating in this process, and They will share with you the experiences in gathering information. But let me hasten to say that sometimes, in terms of the process of crafting a strategy, initially participants will be exhibiting that zeal, that passion to be involved. But I don't know whether it's burnout or it's they will begin to develop cold feet. And we don't want a situation where the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe will be championing the process, uh, trying to figure out what is actually happening in the film sector. Because what we are saying is that you, as the practitioners, you need to give us information that will inform the strategy, information that will be usable and very important to the development of the film sector. So that's stage number 2. Stage number 3 is that we have situations that have happened in other countries, situations that has happened in Zimbabwe, situations that has happened nearby. You know, you are aware of the countries that have developed film that are at a particular stage. The practitioners know. We will have to conduct case studies on specific issues related to the film industries. This will be done through desk research, and I'm quite happy to say some of the uh, national team members have been very forthcoming in bringing in vital information, which information we'll use and we'll glean through it and pick what is relevant to us. So this is the third stage, the desk research. Some people like me are not very keen on reading, but will be forced to read and try to figure out what other countries have done. We do not necessarily have to reinvent the wheel, but maybe we'll copy examples from best practice from other nations, then we contextualize them. More like China. China, as a country, just decided to say, why do we have to reinvent the wheel? Just Chinanize everything. And they have Chinanized and they have succeeded. And look at them now. So we are saying we are not reinventing the wheel here as Zimbabwe, but we will learn best practice from other nations. That's stage number 3. Stage number 4, which I believe is very, very critical, is that we need to organize what we call peer-to-peer exchanges with film industry stakeholders from other nations. Funds permitting, this will involve study incursions to identified countries where we'll be exchanging ideas. We are not saying there's nothing that has not been happening in Zimbabwe. We have been developing our film industry at our own pace. We have our own experiences, but we need to exchange with others on a peer-to-peer level, so that we can have the cross-fertilization of ideas in the development of the film industries. It's a critical stage, and this stage per se will involve members, identified members of the national team, who will then be the critical players in the peer-to-peer exchanges. If it involves traveling, then those people will have to travel to specific destinations, to specific countries where the film industry is very vibrant, and they will exchange ideas with their counterparts in that nation. The lessons that they will get there and the experience, the ideas that they will share there will then be part of the strategy. So that's stage number 4. Stage number 5 will involve the conducting of a nationwide consultative process. We are saying we have film stakeholders, all those practitioners in the value chain who are critical to the development of the film industry. They have to be consulted. And this underlines the fact that we are using the participatory and inclusive approach. We can even borrow from the mantra that leaving no one and no place behind, sort of thing. So the national consultative process will be carried out as well, because we need ideas, we need contributions and everything from practitioners in the film industry that are dotted around Zimbabwe. Definitely we will not be able to cover everyone, but we will do random sampling so that we can safely say we will cover all the 10 provinces of Zimbabwe. Then the last stage, which we feel is very, very critical, is the holding of a national validation workshop, where we'll call all the practitioners, not all, but a sample of practitioners representing all the practitioners in the value chain to come and validate the draft document. If there are any comments, we can then fine-tune them and include whatever points we will have missed along the way. What is important about this process that at each and every stage, stakeholders are allowed to make contributions. Those with the zeal and the passion to read can make comments, and which comments will be included in the document. So after the holding of a national validation workshop, where we'll safely say, all of us, this is our document, we all accede to its contents, we agree, we are adopting it, then we will finally have a national launch, which will say this will be some form of a celebratory exercise where we will say, oh, we have reached our destination. And after which, we'll then see the implementation process. But during the entire process, we'll need to have specific issues, specific pillars, which the stakeholders will say, I think I'll run with this pillar and implement it to the fullest. So in general, this is the process that we are using. It has worked, the music strategy, and we were using the music strategy as a pilot phase. And if there's any need to revise it, coming from new practitioners, that will be duly done. Thank you. This is the process in general. Thank you very much.
So I'm one of the team members in the National Film Strategy formulation process. So the first thing that we did was we did an orientation. We met all the team members, and then we had an orientation where we're told how the process works, and we're given other examples of other countries, how their film policies work. And then after that, we're split into groups. These groups of people, we carry out with questions for the SWOT analysis that Mr. Ndinde just explained. So there were questions that we had listed, where one, we have to define the value chain, list the players and practitioners, which has already been done. And then we had to identify the placing and locations where film is happening, and then some sampling. So that's also done. The SWOT analysis has been done, and we are now moving into the next stage. So I'll hand over to Tenton.
All right, thank you. The National Film Strategy is a critical moment in time for us as Zimbabwe, considering where we are coming from, where we didn't have the recognition, where we didn't know where the government stood in respect to us as the film industry. So I'm happy to announce that since the announcement of this strategy, the setting up of the committee and us being and then let loose to go and work. We have covered so much, and we have reached out to filmmakers or film practitioners across Zimbabwe, and we have tried to make sure that we speak to everyone in the film value chain. So we're speaking to writers, we're speaking to producers, directors, the DOPs, we're speaking to everyone to make sure that whatever outcome we have as a result of those consultative exercises, it will reflect the true picture of what's obtaining on the ground. So I'm happy to the people that were that welcomed us and actually devoted their time to this exercise. Because what we should understand is that, I think I've said this on some other platforms, to say if we do not stand up to create all the documentation that is needed, working in conjunction with the government and other agencies or other organizations, this situation will continue forever and ever, where we do not know where we are going, where our film doesn't necessarily matter. But I'm happy that with this progress, people have come forth and we have managed to do the situational analysis. We have managed to do the Swot analysis, where we looked at the current challenges that we have, where we looked at our strength as the practitioners. Yes, we looked at our strength as the practitioners. We looked at our weaknesses. We looked at the opportunities. We looked at also the threats within the space. And all that has been tabulated. And what we are now waiting for is the finalization of the situational report that then tells us, that gives us an overview of everything that's happening within Zimbabwe, where we are. Then also taking the SWOT analysis report that can also tell us what are our challenges, what are our opportunities, and how we then sit down and say, how best can we exploit these in order for us to have a viable film industry. So, and like what Mr. Ntinte has highlighted, as well as Marian, this is a momentous occasion for us. And in order for this to truly reflect our ambitions, our goals as a nation, we need to work together. Everyone is supposed to participate. When we reach out to you, please work with us. We do not want to leave your concerns or the things that you feel they can take this film industry to some place. We don't want to leave them out. If you have knowledge that you have gained, whether working outside Zimbabwe or that you have gained over the period you've been working in the industry, we need that in order to create an industry that can also be inherited by our children, an industry that is functional. We want film to be respected. We want you to go out there and say, I am a filmmaker, and everybody to look at you with respect. The current situation is you are amongst the unemployed people, right? You can't say I'm a filmmaker because there's nothing to show for it, is it? So let us work together. This is our film strategy. It speaks about our ambitions. It speaks about the industry that we want. We want you to send your children to say, go and study film because you know film can pay. You get it? Right now, the situation is terrible. So we are praying to you. We are asking you that when we come back to do some of those workshops where we are bringing you here to say, this is the report, this is what we have obtained, we want your feedback. Please work with us. I know together we can make it. Together we can build that industry that we want. And if you feel that you have never heard of this and it's the first time of you hearing this, please reach out to any one of us, whether ZIFFT, whether ZIFFT, whether National Arts Council. You need to be in a position where you receive information of what's happening. You are a key stakeholder, and we really need you to make this thing work. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, it's exciting. Sometimes when my colleagues are speaking, they invoke something in me, especially on the team spirit. Team. Together, each achieves more. And the issue of inclusivity, where we are saying, you'll be included at whatever level. Please feel free to make your contributions. I just wanted to mention that the situational report, and together with the SWOT analysis report, will be referred back to the national team, and if there is any further need for further consultations, then you guys will be consulted. And we are saying we consult stakeholders and we also consult stockholders. And for me, you are stockholders, not necessarily stakeholders. Stockholders, you hold the stock to the film industry. So I just want to emphasize the issue of inclusivity and the participatory approach that we are using. Feel free to contribute. Feel free to approach any one of us, the national team members, the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe, ZIFFT, all the stockholders in the film industry. We want to capture almost everything so that we move together and go forward together. And we say we own it. The danger of us as a nation is that some bureaucrat sitting in an office which is air conditioned with drinks in the field just decides, the film practitioners, I think they need this policy. Without their participation, without their contribution, without their inputs, there is no ownership there. So the issue of ownership is very critical. And you as stockholders, I kindly implore you to participate and make contributions. Please make contribution. This is because at the end of the day, the document will be yours. The document will be implemented by you, the stockholders. The document will be evaluated and monitored by you, the stakeholders. All the emerging pillars, all the pillars that will inform the document will be monitored by you, will be implemented by you. And it's up to you guys. I encourage you to say this is a different approach which we are trying to use. We don't want to go the usual way where we have a very nice document which is kept in a cabinet, somewhere, gathering dust, and nothing happens out of it. We have been accused as a nation to have so many documents. It pains me because I know some of them. It's like what is being called today as the new educational curricula, which embraces arts and culture education. The Nziramasanga Commission produced a brilliant document years back, and some of the countries, our neighboring, adopted that document and started implementing it. It is only now that we are running around like headless chickens to say, well, let's implement the so-called 5.0 education trajectory, a policy that we should have implemented years back as a nation. So we are saying these sector-based interventions that we are consciously making together must be implemented. We need to see results and results and results.
I think it's also key to mention that we've got before the drafting of the national film, before the national film strategy process happened, we had other organizations who've been working hard. The Zimbabwe Film Development Platform has been working hard, engaging the government departments. Their efforts are not going to be not noticed because some of the members are also part of the team that's creating the policy. So they've got documents that already, the information that they've drafted already would actually be put into the policy as well. So their efforts are not going unnoticed. And we also encourage filmmakers to become members of the Zimbabwe Film Development Platform also, so you can get information on what's happening in the process that we are going through, and also you are able to know what's going on, because the information that we are gathering here is not a secret. It's information that needs to be known by everyone who is a film practitioner.
Thank you very much, Marion, Nsandinde, and Richard. At this juncture, we've got about 15 minutes for any question and answers from the audience. So anybody who has a question, you can put your hand up and who you want to answer in particular. Nyaradzo there.
Hello, thank you for coming. Your timing is great. I think I was talking to you, Nakai, just last week when you let me know that this opportunity is there on the program of ZIFFT. So my major concern is how participatory this process is. I'm from ZFIDP as well. We nominated members together with everybody who was nominating to the strategy team, and they are there. However, they are now there in their individual capacities, right? So, Marion, you've just directed traffic in our direction. However, we don't have any channel of communication with the national strategy team as an organization. So our people are in there, but you said early on that things mustn't be discussed outside until we are finished, or something like that. I don't know what's the position regards your non-disclosure of your process, right? Further to that, the process is outlined here with the 6 stages. You mentioned a drafting team, Mr. Ndinde, but there is no drafting as a stage of this process. Neither is there a stage of revision. So we are coming to a nationwide consultative exercise. Will we have seen what has been drafted then? Will it have been drafted? And then there'll be a validation exercise. Will our contributions have been taken on board between that consultation and the validation?
Thank you very much for raising those very, very critical issues. I think earlier on I underlined the issue of participatory and inclusive approach. We are very much aware that some people might be there as individuals, but we are not averse to receiving institutional inputs. And the terms of reference of the national team speak to some of the issues that we are raising. The drafting process is enshrined within the entire process. In fact, as we speak right now, the National Arts Council acting as the secretariat to the entire process, we are already noticing some of the emerging pillars. Then when the drafting team is established, it will be capturing those ideas emerging as strong feelings from the stakeholders. And what happens now, one of the key issues of the national team members is to, if they are given the draft, the report, they'll go back to the stakeholders and consult them. So the issue of consultation is enshrined at each and every stage of these 6 stages. It cuts across the entire process. It might not be very, very perfect, but we learn, and the issues that we are raising are very critical. You as an individual or you as an institution, there's nothing that stops you from raising issues and channel them to the national team. The national team is not averse to being approached. Any one member of the national team, it will be published and it will be public information, can be approached. And if you feel very strongly that some of the issues that you are raising are not being captured, you can approach the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe. There is a dedicated team that is there capturing each and every issue that is being raised. Like I said, the system might not be very watertight, but we learn from our own mistakes. We are open to criticism, be it constructive or whatever. But please, please participate. I encourage you to participate. Approach the National Arts Council. Approach the national team members, either as individuals, and make sure your views are captured. This is not cast in stone. It can be revised to capture whatever issues are critical.
Is that okay? Is anybody else have any questions? Are you answered?
I haven't heard anything new. Right. We are saying each step is participatory. Yet the first thing you said was the creation of the film strategy team is complete. That stage is complete. We are now on the desk research and best practice. Consultation is listed as the second last item. So we are being consulted on something that will be complete. The willingness to change, right? Something which is, this is why we talk about things being penciled in versus receiving the final thing and then commenting on it. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, it will be so much harder to shift perhaps a focus of a section of it if it is complete by the time we see it. If we are to just come forward, we have no way of knowing that our input has been received.
Okay. Let me take that. So what we did was, prior to getting to the consultation stage, we have identified film practitioners, a lot of them from across Zimbabwe. And when we identified those, we also broke the national team into groups so that people will be given a particular area to focus on. And they will also be given a number of names of people now to talk to, you understand? So that each and every one of those identified practitioners will give their contribution in respect to the survey that we had. So when we get to the consultation stage now, we have captured all the feedback that we have received from the different people who were identified. To those people that we did not manage to reach out in person, we sent them online surveys, which they completed. And this was extended to even filmmakers across the globe. Zimbabwean filmmakers are outside that we had identified. So basically, in respect to some of your concerns, I think the majority of your people, because the database that we are using came from your organization. So basically, the majority of the filmmakers, the film practitioners within your organization, they've already contributed their feedback. Okay. Right. Okay. And we have done the same in terms from Cinema Society of Zimbabwe, you understand? So we have tried to reach out to them. So when we come back now on the consultative stage, we are saying, this is what you have submitted, this is what you have contributed. Did we capture it correctly? You understand? So when we then consult, you are in a position to say, no, this is not us, we didn't speak that. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's good. Very critical issues that you have raised. Very good answer that you have given him. And what we are saying, I omitted the online survey, which is out there. And you guys, most of you are running away from the actual SWOT analysis, contributing to what? To the online survey. So at the consultative stage, like what he is saying, we'll be having something to say, is this exactly what you have said? that's the opportunity when you say, no, we didn't say that. You have left this, you have left it. This is why, in our wisdom or lack of it, placed it as the second, is it second from last stage? So that you can make contributions, real contributions on something that we assume will have emerged or from the practitioners. The validation process then will be putting icing on the cake. You say, we agree. We have captured everything that we said. That's the process.
When we're compiling the list of practitioners, would, like, if we send you the list, well, sometimes we'd have like we'd start like with 1, 2, 3, and then we send the list to someone and say, add the filmmakers that you know. So that's how some of the compilation was done of film practitioners across the country, and some were outside. And then once that was done, when the list was compiled of the film practitioners, the SWOT analysis questions were sent to all those filmmakers, all the list of people that we had contacts for. It was sent to all those filmmakers. I think I sent over 400 with WhatsApp. Some were saying we don't have email. So you'd be sending with WhatsApp and everything. And I think out of that, I got 15 responses. And some will be telling you, I'm busy, these questions are too many, this and that. So you got 15. So this is something that Mr. Ndini was also talking about, like the participatory process. Like, I'm asking you for your opinion as a filmmaker to put it in, so we can include it in the policy. And then you're saying the questions are too long, but then your suggestions need to be included. So when that also was done, it was compiled, read, and then spread within the groups and everything. And then there were one-on-one interviews that were done, and then also group interviews that were done. Some were volunteering to actually come to where you are, some you had to go to where they were, and some will just downright say, I'm busy. You'd actually go to them, and then they'll tell you that I'm busy. And we also had organizations that would actually say, we are available, come and do the one-on-one interviews. So we're trying as hard as we can to make sure we include a lot of people, but also the participation process is the one that's making it difficult. Some people just don't want to answer those questions, so it makes the process a little bit like it's being done, not open, but it's actually open for everyone to be part of it, to be part of the process. Did you answer the SWOT analysis questions yourself? Did you receive them? Any SWOT questions?
And did you fill it? Did you answer any? So you didn't? No, but there was an audience one, and then there was also a practitioners one. Wow. Okay. Um, we actually, I don't know if there's any. Maybe we can take one last question, and then we have to wrap it up for the next session that's happening now.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think this is a very commendable move, given that the film industry has been facing serious problems since time immemorial. But without maybe throwing a damper on these efforts, it would be worthwhile to mention and to emphasize that one just hopes it's not going to be one of those again. You know, one of those. In Zim, we are very creative and very sharp, and you know, in coming up with brilliant programs, particularly when the window, you know, the windows do vary. We do have another window now, and that window might mean something around next year. So government included, and other players included, would want just to parade something on the marketplace. I'm not really doing down what you are trying to do. I'm only saying, as enthusiastic, you know, practitioners, we really feel something of this nature is worthwhile. But this is your coming. Let's see how you're going to progress and how you'll exit from there. Thank you.
Okay. I think for this policy to work now in 2022 post-COVID, it's now up to you and me.
Our film strategy is in sync with that document. During the evaluation of those documents, you can safely say the film strategy is also being evaluated. It's also being monitored. But the key issue, the very important issue, is what Marian has raised. It belongs to us all. Let's have ownership. Because also the tendency of that we have as Zimbabweans is to look to government. Say this is a government policy, it's government, but that must implement it. It's the national asset. That's not. No, let's move away from that. And we are saying this, the window that you are talking about, let's have a paradigm shift to say we own this, it belongs to us, and it is your duty to go and interrogate National Arts Council, government, whoever, whatever means, to say we agreed this is the strategy and take them to task. Where is this? Where is this? Then we can achieve something. Because if we sit down as practitioners and say it is government that is going to implement it, government will never do that. The business of government is to create a favorable environment for you to operate in. And it is your duty as practitioners to question government where it is lacking. We have this document, it's binding, and we can even force the government to have what we call the statutory instrument. This is a strategy. It can be supported by a statutory instrument which will be binding and question the minister and question whoever the national asks to say in the statutory, it said this, where are we now? So most of the tasks, most of the issues rest with us practitioners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ndinde, Richard Tenton, Marion Kononga. They're all part of the National Film Strategy team. Thank you very much for your talk, and thank you. Hope you guys found this all useful. I think we actually have to wrap up now. We have another discussion taking place. I think they're all here. Maybe you guys, if you have further questions or anything with them, they are here, and it's open and participatory. So thank you very much.